in the latter part of the 30s, you see that the Nazis begin more and more to get power and more to pay attention to this young man, Bonhoeffer, that he's a troublemaker, that he's speaking out. So they forbid him from conducting this illegal seminary, because he ran an illegal seminary for the Confessing Church for a number of years. They forbid him from speaking publicly. Finally, they prohibit him from publishing because he wrote a book on the Psalms. Now, keep this in mind. You can't even believe this, but the Nazis were trying to create a German state church that was utterly devoid of all Jewish elements. Good luck with that project, because I don't know how you're going to pull that off. Bonhoeffer, he was in the thick of this, but he was a real a troublemaker in the best sense, that he would just push and push and push. By 1939, the war was coming, and Bonhoeffer is asking the Lord, what do I do now? I can no longer teach. I can no longer speak publicly. I can no longer publish. Lord, what are you calling me to do? And he felt that since the war is coming, there's no way he could pick up a gun and fight in Hitler's war. He knew his conscience would not allow him to fight in a war of aggression. He was not a pacifist the way he's sometimes been painted, but he knew, I'm not going to fight in Hitler's war, so what can I do? Well, he decides to go back to America, and he has all kinds of people pull strings. Reinhold Niebuhr and all these bigwigs pull strings so the brilliant Bonhoeffer can come to America and teach and really weather the storm that's coming. But no sooner does he get on the ship to America in June of 1939 than he knows that somehow he's made a mistake, that he's missed God. He does not have the peace of God. He spends 26 days in New York City before he gets on another ship and goes back into the belly of the beast, into danger, into harm's way. And the question, of course, is, what is he thinking? What's he going to do? Well, he didn't have a death wish. He wanted to obey God. And what he felt the Lord was calling him to do, and this is where it gets crazy, he officially joins the conspiracy against Adolf Hitler. So to preserve the illusion that he's serving the Third Reich in time of war, because, probably they had an idea that, well, it's war. So even troublemakers like Bonhoeffer, they're going to get with the program to defend the fatherland. So what he really does, though, is he gets hired by his brother-in-law to join German military intelligence, which looks legitimate. But in fact, what he was going to do was participate with his brother-in-law and other members of German military intelligence in this vast conspiracy to assassinate Adolf Hitler. And it's an amazing thing, and part of what his job was to travel to neutral countries to make contact with the Churchill government, for example, to let them know there are Germans inside Germany working against the Nazis, and will you help us? And so that's what he ends up doing.
So he could have stayed in America and avoided the dark road that led to his execution.
That's exactly right.
And he deliberately came back knowing what it was going to cost him.
Well,
talk about the cost of discipleship. He was living it out.
He lived it out. And listen, he preached this from the beginning. When he said, when Christ bids a man, he bids him to come and die, that we are called